All right. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for your patience. I was waiting for Hattie Finnerty from the Alzheimer's Association, but I just checked. She was in a traffic jam and she's on her way. So I'm going to start with my stuff, and then when she gets here, we'll just transition to what she has to present. Okay, so we're going to do our icebreaker. So if you could share your name and something good that happened this week, that would be great. I'm Jackie, and some good friends of ours took all 3 of our kids for a whole afternoon on Sunday, and we just got to go bop around in Orland, and it was lovely. Yeah, all 3 of them.
Dave Fitzpatrick. I guess this week the best thing was I have a friend that collects cats. I mean, there's a million stray cats in Kankakee, way more than I ever would have imagined. And she does like 500 neuters and spays a year. So I'm helping her out. I just do them for free for her, and we just did 5 the other day. And we test them for feline leukemia and panleukopenia and heartworm, and I'm always happy when we test them and they're negative, because then they can just get neutered and adopted out. So that went really well this week.
Where's that at? Where's that at?
Well, she does it out of her home.
Oh, okay.
But she brings them over to my house at the clinic, and we just knock them out and move them right on the table.
Aww.
I mean,
We just knock them out.
So sometimes I go, Karen Hemza has Hexies out there in Roma Park. She has a real clinic.
Yeah.
And a surgery table, and sometimes we go out there. I go out there, and usually then we land up like 10. We'll do 10 at a time. So we knock a bunch out at once. But I don't charge them. If they have to take them up to South Suburban or something, I don't know if they charge $100 or something. So
Yeah, because where I live in a trailer park.
that's it, where there are a ton of them. Right?
Yes, and they're trying to get all them.
Yeah. So she's one of the people who track them. And she'll drive down alleyways and stuff, like at night, and see cats, and then the next, run loose, and the next day she'll take a trap out there and trap them.
Okay.
And bring them in and get them neutered and vaccinated, and then adopt them out.
And she
Nice.
doesn't release it. Some
Oh, yeah, sometimes they do release. Yeah.
Okay, well, I have to say my great week was I had my first taste of moonshine.
Oh,
Oh man, I was feeling nothing.
Pretty strong.
Well, I didn't have any moonshine. I asked her what it was and she couldn't define it. I'm Sister Marianne, and this week I got news that a high school friend of mine that I haven't seen for over probably 60 years is going to come and visit me at the end of this month, so that was great news.
That's wonderful.
Hi, I'm Joanne, and I was debating what to share. Actually, the biggest good thing recently was on Friday. 3 weeks ago, I bought a car. 2 weeks ago, the transmission went out. I spent a week renting a car, and last Friday, I got a loaner car from the dealership until they could get the parts to fix my car. And supposedly, I'm supposed to get it back by next Friday, I hope. But they are having trouble getting gaskets and screws to fix it. Which I'm like, I don't understand why it's hard to get gaskets and screws. But
Well, I'm glad they got you a loaner instead of having to do a rental. Here you go, Paula.
Oh, Paula Robbins. I can't really think of anything except, you know what? I'm here, I'm alive, hallelujah.
I'm David Schilling, and this week we had a vestry meeting It's like a church board meeting. It was the first one with our new pastor. And we're planning to be part of the Pride Festival in Joliet, and I'm looking forward to that. So that's what my good news is.
Is that soon? Is that happening soon? Oh, so is that in June?
No, they have.
I'm Karen Rushman, but actually we just got home this past weekend from Michigan. We went there to have our daughter's birthday party, and so I'm just coming down from that trip. But we had fun.
I'm Bob, so I was also on the same trip with Karen. And Vienna, I guess, caught up with a bunch of work I had to get done on just computer stuff. So sitting inside in front of a screen for quite a bit. So it's getting close to being done. I'm happy about that.
Hi, my name is Mary, and I enjoyed going to see my granddaughter get her black belt in karate.
Hello, my name is Leanne McCormick, and a high for me this week has been the fact that my grandson invited me to go to a movie, and I can't wait to spend the time with him.
Hi, my name is Kenyatta Benjamin. My high for the week was just getting a few tasks I had on the list, got them completed, all's well.
Thank you all for sharing. Hattie has arrived. She's just working to get set up. So we're so grateful for her continued support and coming to speak at our program. I'm glad you made it here safely. So she's from the Alzheimer's Association and is going to give us updates on different things Alzheimer's Association related. And then after, I'll finish up the Senior Companion Program announcements. Can I give this to you?
Yes.
Cool. So I do an online recording and then I post it.
Okay, got it.
If you have any issues with like FCA
No, it's fine.
regulation,
It's fine.
let me know. It does have a clip.
Oh, I like to walk and talk.
Yeah.
Okay. So today, I'm actually have a handout too. We're going to talk about healthy living, which has, oh, I hit the wrong thing. Gonna work? I don't know what happened. There we go. Let me grab some handouts. Thank you.
And when I mail out packets to the people who aren't able to make it, could I take some for them?
Yes, I think I have enough.
Awesome. Thank you.
Here's a little bit extra if you need them, just in case.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So some I know are familiar faces and some are new. So my name is Hattie Finnerty and I'm with the Alzheimer's Illinois chapter. I've been with the association for almost 12 years. And the reason why I came to the association was because my grandma was diagnosed with dementia at the age of 69. And she lived with this disease for 15 years total. So the last 5 years of her life, we were her caregivers. She moved in with my parents. I moved home and we took care of her. So I'm very passionate about it. But when we're in community, oftentimes people ask, okay, well, we know the 10 warning signs. We know about Alzheimer's and dementia, but what can we do? Healthy individuals, what can we do? So the association created Healthy Living for Your Brain and Body. Now more than ever, it is so important. Everybody has this infographic of the 10 healthy habits. What they are saying is if you follow these modifiable risk factors, you have a 45% of dementia cases could be prevented or delayed by following these healthy habits. A lot of these we are going to go through today. And the importance of this is because the Alzheimer's Association over 2 years ago embarked in this study over 5 clinical sites throughout the United States, Chicagoland was one of them. It was Advocate, Aurora Health, and then Rush. Participants, there was 2,000 participants aged 60 to 79 years old that went into this study called the U.S. Pointer Study. And the importance of this study was all about lifestyle intervention. Individuals had to be eligible, so either they had a parent or a sibling that had memory loss, and they also had to have means of improvement themselves. So either they had a sedentary lifestyle, or maybe they had a horrible diet. So what happened was they met with their primary care physician. If the primary care physician said, okay, you're good, you could go into the study, they were into this study. Now, the individuals, some were in a structured group, meaning every week they met with the U.S. Pointer Navigator, and others were doing it on their own. And for weeks, they followed health monitoring, so doing those check-ins with the doctor, checking like their A1C, cholesterol, high blood pressure, weight, and then they went into diet. And we'll talk about diet today. They looked at physical health and exercise, and they looked at what they were doing to keep their minds active. The important thing is the results were just released at the Alzheimer's International Conference at the end of July, or it was really August 1st. And what they saw was people that followed the protocol for the U.S. Pointer actually were showing their cognition was 2 years younger than individuals that were in their age group. So I had a volunteer, and she was part of the U.S. Pointer study. And when they did her testing, she showed that she was 67 right now. They showed her as being someone that's 65. So it was wonderful. Now they're moving into the implementation stage. What does that mean? I mean, more to come on that. But this was the first time that they had a lifestyle intervention approach that they were showing worked. Before, there is no prevention for this disease. There is no cure. But showing 45% delayed onset really helped. So today, I'm going to have to go back and forth, so I apologize. Today, we're going to go through some of these healthy habits. I'm sure most of you know all about a lot of these healthy habits, but I just like to say it's important to kind of just know what the science is saying and how it's backed up. So we will briefly talk about Alzheimer's and dementia. If anyone has questions, just raise your hand. I'm happy to just go through everything. And then we'll go through these, I like to say, the pieces to the puzzle. We'll talk about sleep. We'll talk about smoking, of course, mental health. I feel like we're hearing more and more about that these days. Physical activity, balanced nutrition. We're going to look into social and cognitive engagement.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is there an actual difference between dementia?
Yeah. So we're actually going to talk about this in the next 2 slides. Yes. So the brain, as you're going to see here, is the control center of the body. It is made up of 100 billion nerve cells. We call those neurons. And in the brain, we have signals that travel back and forth to each other, telling us, our memories, our thoughts, and our feelings. If someone is starting to have memory impairment, cognitive loss, dementia, or Alzheimer's, the first thing that is going to be affected is what we call the hippocampus area. That is our memory bank. That is the formation of new memories. So when you talk to someone and 5 minutes later they're asking the same question, you're thinking, I just said that. And then another 5 minutes later they're asking the same thing. That's what's happening. They're not retaining that recently learned information. So Alzheimer's does destroy brain cells. Currently, right now, it is the 7th leading cause of death in the United States. So we know it is a progressive brain disease at this point that has no cure. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. In the brain are connected. They're saying 20 to 25% of the blood from every heartbeat, you need that oxygen flow. So when someone has a stroke, let's say that oxygen flow stops. Some individuals that have a stroke, they move on to developing Alzheimer's or dementia, but others do not. So oftentimes we'll see something called vascular dementia, which is caused by the impaired blood flow to the brain. Now, what I didn't tell you is we have quizzes. Okay, so true or false? Alzheimer's is a normal part of aging.
No.
Okay, smart group, false. That is correct. So years ago, they said, oh, the person's going senile or they have hardening of the arteries, and they thought that's normal aging, right? This is not normal aging. So it is progressive, a fatal brain disease. Symptoms usually develop slowly. They will get worse over time. What they are saying is it lives 20 years in the brain before any onset of symptoms. So what happens is, let's say now there was a tragic death, right? It could escalate now into something. We might start seeing full-blown symptoms. Somebody can live with this disease. They're saying on average, the year span is 2 to 20 years. Every individual is different, right? On average, it's about 8 years that someone can live with this disease.
Is it hereditary?
So that's a good question. It plays a small piece of the puzzle. If someone has young onset, which is 65 years or younger, then yes, that will be hereditary. So who has seen the movie Still Alice? A few of us. If you haven't seen it, I recommend you do. I think it's streaming on Netflix still. But Julianne Moore played this character. She was diagnosed in her early 50s. She had young onset. The child that got the genetic testing done carried the gene. They will develop it. So when I started many years ago, it was less than 2% of cases. Now it's like less than 9%. However, it's not rare anymore because people are starting to talk more and more about it. Bruce Willis came out, his family, with his diagnosis of frontal temporal. He's young. Our helpline calls that week skyrocketed because people were wanting to know, like, is this normal, aging? Am I starting to have some signs? They felt like they could start to talk about it. So how I love to describe it is dementia is the umbrella term. Underneath it is our list of symptoms. So some of those symptoms could be our navigation, right? So let's say someone jumps behind the wheel of the car and says, I'm going to run up the street to the grocery store. And now they're 80 miles out of the way. They forgot how to get to the grocery store. Or we're going to start to notice people's social filter is gone. And now they're talking, loudly about people. These are all the symptoms that someone will talk about when they go to the doctor. Alzheimer's is the most common cause. 60 to 80% of cases is Alzheimer's disease. The only way to truly tell is by getting a proper diagnosis. Because it could just be dementia, or it could fall into Alzheimer's or vascular, or it could be frontal temporal dementia, which is associated more with your mood rather than your memory. People that have frontal temporal, it's usually their late 40s to early 50s that develop that dementia. So I always encourage people, if they start to see the signs in themselves or their loved one, to talk to their doctor, because it's not always Alzheimer's or dementia. It could be a urinary tract infection. It could be vitamin deficiencies. That's a real thing. Medication side effects, depression, substance abuse issues. These all play into this role of not feeling like your normal self. So some healthy behaviors can lower that risk of dementia, and we all have that sign. But dementia, your list of symptoms, Alzheimer's is the most common form. Does that kind of answer your question?
Somewhat, yeah.
Tell me what else you need. I'll clarify before we go on.
Thank you.
So everybody, you can live with just a dementia diagnosis, right? And now we're hearing more about mild cognitive impairment.
It sounds like it starts with dementia.
Yeah.
And then it goes to Alzheimer's.
Not necessarily. Sometimes people will have a clear cut, this is Alzheimer's. And they detect what it is after a thorough diagnosis. And the diagnosis is not just the 5-minute conversation with like their primary care. They do tons of testing to find that out.
I agree with the taking medication and the side effects.
Yes. And oftentimes people don't pay attention to that. And it could be someone with normal cognition, and now they're starting to see, I'm not feeling like I used to feel. Is it because I'm on new medication? Yeah. So the diagnostic process, what normally happens is the person will go in with, like, let's say their loved one, right? And at this point, it's now, let's say they're moved past the primary care, right? And now they're at a neurologist. Now, not every neurologist specializes in Alzheimer's or dementia, so you have to find a specialist or a geriatric specialist with Alzheimer's. So they're going to do they'll interview the person that has some of the symptoms. They'll interview the family members, because at this point, most families have written down things that they're seeing, right? They're going to look at current medications, past medications. They're going to test for depression. They're going to look at the blood and urine to see maybe it's a kidney infection, or maybe it is a urinary tract infection that's like going undetected. Then they're going to do that mental status exam. So they ask, can you draw the hands of a clock? Or now recently they're asking, can you repeat the alphabet backwards?
But it's all observational performance based, not physical.
No, they'll go into testing your reflexes, coordination, eye balance, or speech. Then they're going to do an MRI. In some, depending where there's access, some people don't have access to PET scans. They will do an PET scan to detect what's happening to the brain. Was it a tumor? Was it a stroke? Do they have shrinkage of the brain? And some people will do cerebrospinal fluid analysis, which is like a lumbar puncture. And most recently, we just got FDA approval for a blood test. Then they'll combine all that data.
Can you find out if you have it before you actually have this?
So, no, because what they do is people will get a PET scan, and then they're going to look to, let's say now 2 years later, you'll get another PET scan. So they're doing like base level to see
What's the PET scan?
what's happening in the brain. Is there gray matter? Is there shrinkage starting of the brain? Because with Alzheimer's, it's shrinkage of the brain. What's that?
What does it stand for?
Posterior emission tomography.
So it's looking at the size of brain cells, or?
Yeah, they're looking at the plaques and the tangles. So the two hallmarks of Alzheimer's are our plaques and our tangles. So the beta.
The actual machine or chip?
It is.
Like the MRI?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
So
I can't do MRI.
There are clinical symptoms that.
Yeah.
But it's not the same technology as MRI. It's different.
And MRI, you're going right into that machine, that long time, which most people panic when they go into. Go ahead. I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead. Go ahead. I cut her off.
CAT scan because you go into a circle.
Oh.
Instead of two. And it checks your brain.
Yep.
My dad had when he was diagnosed.
Mm-hmm.
I can handle that.
He died in May and we've had it for at least 15 years.
Mm-hmm. Were you gonna?
So I was just going to ask if there were any lifestyle changes you can make, either slow or reverse some of the impacts of Alzheimer's.
Not reverse, but yes, this healthy habits, that's what they're saying. So primarily your diet, which we're going to talk about in a second, what you're doing to keep your brain active in physical health and exercise. Yeah. So what they're saying, and of course we talked a little bit about this, but we're going to move on to the next because I want to also be courteous of time. When we're talking about health monitoring, these are the things that they're focused on. Make sure that you're keeping your numbers in check, right? Looking at your blood pressure, your blood sugar, A1C, your weight, and your cholesterol. So what does the science say? Many factors that increase the risk of heart disease and stroke can also increase the risk of cognitive decline and dementia. So here, hypertension, they're saying people that have diabetes are at a 60% increase of developing this disease. Midlife obesity, good cholesterol, we know is what's good for the brain is also good for the heart. What's good for the heart is also good for the brain. Next question. It's never too early or too late to incorporate healthy habits. True or false? Yes. We can start at any age. So now we're going to move into quality of sleep. There is a lot of research that goes into sleep right now. What they are encouraging individuals is that they need 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. Who is getting that? Oh, no one. Some. And why they're saying that is because when you are sleeping, you're clearing out the toxins of the brain when you're getting that full length of sleep. So then the next day, obviously, we know we're up and we're refreshed and recharged. And go ahead.
Just a real quick question. So you said 7 night, does that have to be one extended period? Or can you do it, like if you take, during the day, you take a significant nap? Can that be part of it? Like
No.
2 hour nap? Okay, That's what I got.
Yeah.
My question.
Yeah. It has to be consistent. And what they're saying is, that REM sleep where you're in that heavy sleep, they're saying that ideally people should cycle through that 3 times through the night for 90 minutes. Now, you wouldn't know that unless you wear one of those rings that kind of captures all of that data, but that's what they're saying. People, there's a ton of people that have sleep issues, right? Go ahead.
So in other words, if you don't feel like you get that REM sleep, then you're more at risk for having this?
Mm-hmm. They're saying more and more sleep is playing a huge role in this.
Was that continuous uninterrupted?
Yeah.
Go to the bathroom?
Mm-hmm. Which I'm sure everybody in this room gets up to. Right. Everybody gets up to go. Yeah, they're saying uninterrupted. So if you, I'm not saying go get this because it costs a lot of money, but if let's say a lot of the Fitbits now, you can track your sleep, you'll notice that no one is sleeping consistently. It's like this the whole night, up and down, peaks and valleys, because we all are restless, right? Depending on maybe if we have anything stressful going on in our lives. We're not going to get that, but they're encouraging people. Now, naps, years ago they said do not nap. They don't want anybody, they're saying that increases your risk. Now they're saying it's okay to even take a 20-minute nap. Those have benefits. So if you're a napper, okay, well, yeah, there you go. But there's going to be a lot of research coming out with sleep, especially because it plays now into these lifestyle interventions, that we'll probably see a lot more research coming out from it. But what they're telling people is, if you aren't sleeping well, start thinking about your environment before you move into like sleep medication. So for instance, some people, maybe they need a peaceful setting. Not everybody has that peaceful setting where they can't hear everything, but they're saying maybe, what can minimize disruptions? Are you listening to white noise? If you sleep with the TV on, turn it off. They're recommending people to turn off any kind of blue light, televisions or your phones, 30 minutes before they go to sleep. Does anybody do that now? Barely anyone. So that's a great point, because in the next thing we're going to see is what they say is put your phone somewhere else. So if you use it for an alarm, put it in the bathroom or in another room so you can physically get up. So like when you have restless sleep and your phone's next to you, initially you're like, I can't sleep, let me grab my phone. Now you're going through the blue light and now you're wide awake. So they're encouraging people to not do that. Talk to your primary care physician if you are experiencing sleep issues, because of course there is sleep medication that could help. But a lot of this stuff we know. If what is the room temperature? If it's hot, if it's cold, some people can't sleep when it's hot. The bedtime, turning off, winding down. There's so much out there right now of things that we can do. I always thought I would never be able to sleep with the TV off, and we moved, and I told my husband, I don't want the TV in our room anymore. And he's like, how are we going to sleep? I'm like, I don't know, stare at the ceiling. Not bad at all. So of course we know secondhand smoke is not good. It can also, increase person's high blood pressure, but being smoke-free. So what could help stop smoking or staying smoke-free? There's of course online resources. Some people need to maybe get on a patch, but some of the tips that they're saying is find support through quit lines. Talk with your doctor or another healthcare professional, or look for a smoking cessation program, because smoking also puts us at risk for that. And they're saying secondhand smoke is not any better. So take care of your mental health. It's really important to prioritize your time when it's for self-care. And I know it's hard for a lot of people because maybe, they're a grandparent and they're juggling, taking care of grandchildren, or, a family and they're, working full-time, taking care of kids. But even 10 to 15 minutes a day makes a huge difference. So now it's starting to get a little bit nicer out, even just stepping outside, going for a walk, or reading, a few pages of a book. Pay attention to your stress level and any kind of symptoms of anxiety. And of course, in a perfect world, we wouldn't be stressed out, right? But stress does play a role in a lot of our cognition. Yeah, and many good mental Healthy habits contribute to good mental health. So does anybody want to share what are some things that they enjoy doing for self-care? Yeah, reading's good. Go ahead. That's perfect. Puzzles is perfect.
I go dancing every weekend.
You do what?
I dance every
That's, and you're getting physical activity, social engagement?
exercise.
Yep.
Socializing.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah.
I do FaceTime with friends in Minneapolis.
Oh, I love that. Go ahead.
And I do Bible word search
Oh,
on my phone.
that's good. We're all doing something, because it doesn't have to cost money, right? When we think self-care, it doesn't mean, oh, we have to go get our nails done or we have to go buy something. It's just something that we can all do to help better ourselves. And of course, some people can't fit those things in the day. So how can we fit in those 10 minutes? For myself, if I'm not in community delivering presentations or meeting with people, I have to block out my calendar to get up, because otherwise I'm at my desk all day. So now I've gotten better with, I'll just block out an hour, because I can have an hour for lunch, and I have a dog, so we'll go for a walk. It's getting nicer out. I have a Bernie doodle, so she does not like hot weather. But now that it's getting nice, we can walk. We go for walks together, but I have to get up and I have to do something. Or if I can't do a full hour, I at least remove myself and just read 10 pages of a book that I have.
I do a lot of positive.
Yes. Oh.
I like sitting there doing it. I like to see the pictures. I'm doing a great big calendar.
Oh, that's nice.
A snowman and a duck.
Oh.
I'm down on November, but it's been since early.
Yeah, but that's good. You're getting there. Oh, good.
I'm giving it to my daughter.
Oh,
Looking at a book.
that's so nice.
Behind me, and she goes, "Oh, Mom, get that! I really like it." Well, it's hers.
Oh, that's sweet. That's sweet.
Yeah, I've got others that are going to my other rooms. They're all fun.
That's nice. See?
I like to see the
Yeah, and all your hard work for doing it too. So we've talked a little bit about this, watch a funny video, or maybe it's baking. Now, get moving. Here, there's a lot of research that goes into this. What they are saying is physical activity can improve your brain health. If you have stress, it will reduce your stress levels. They're really encouraging getting that blood flowing. If you can't, brisk walking is perfect. It doesn't mean you have to join a health club. If you like to walk, just walk. Average adults need 2.5 hours a week of physical exercise. So that's not bad. You can break it into different parts of your day. A lot of people like to count their steps. They're encouraging people to have anywhere from 7,500 steps a day to 10,000 steps a day. But if you haven't worked out, of course, start small and build on that. We've all heard, park, if you're able to, park at the last spot in the parking lot and walk in. Or if you're able to, take the stairs instead of taking the elevator. Little things like that really add up. And anything that keeps your breath a little bit, it's hard to talk, right? Does anybody want to talk about, you do line dancing, does anybody want to talk about what they do for physical activity? Go ahead.
I work out in the basement. I've got
Yeah.
I read some of the recent exercise is great, but if you just exercise 30 or 40 minutes a day, but then sit a lot of the rest of the day, but you kind of set your feet in the curve.
That's so true. So I have recently I've noticed after a long work day, I'm not going to go to the gym, right? I'm just tired. I have my kids. It's hard to manage. My husband works late hours. I get up at 4:15 and I go to the gym, because then after that, I'm rushing taking kids to school. What my doctor actually said is, whatever you just did in the morning is canceled out, because now you're sedentary the rest of the day. So what they're saying is, if you are that type of person, build 20 minutes in your day if you can and go for a walk, so it doesn't defeat it, or 30 minutes. because it does cancel it out when you're sitting. And they're saying sitting is like the newest. I can't think of it right now. It's bad. It's like sitting is like the newest. I can't think of the thing. Has anybody seen that with that study? They're saying it's like the worst thing to be sedentary.
A lot of the things that we're doing to keep our minds active causes our body to be sedentary.
Yes.
They compare it to smoking or something like that.
So maybe, but yeah, it was like saying it's like the worst thing now just to sit. But true to your point. So if we do, and if you do something in the morning, it's not saying you have to do another hour at night, but try to be a little bit more moving around.
When I'm sick, I get up about every hour and go do something.
That's good. If you have Apple Watches, they tell you it's time to stand. It beeps. Some days I'm like, okay, yes, I know. And then I will stand and maybe like go to, walk into another room and get something and come back or walk around the house to stand.
Yeah, it is smoking.
Is it the smoky? Okay, good. Thank you. I'm like, I can't think of it, but I can see it. So we've talked about some of these tips, and of course, start small. Short amounts of physical activity truly do add up, and ask friends to join. It's accountability to really do that, keeping you accountable. If you know you have to meet friends to go for a walk, you'll do it. So now we're going to get into diet. This is another part of what they discussed in the U.S. Pointer study. So again, what's good for the heart is also good for the brain. But here, what they focused on was the MIND diet. Has anybody heard of that? And we'll talk about it in a second. And the Mediterranean diet and the DASH diet. So with the DASH diet, this is dietary approaches to stop hypertension. That focused on lower sodium intake. Because people that, had high cholesterol, high blood pressure focused on DASH. Now, the key elements in both, with the Mediterranean and the DASH, was it focused on clean eating, right? Having fish 2 times a week. If you're not allergic and you're able. Fruits and vegetables. So olive oil, they're encouraging people to have 1 tablespoon of olive oil a day. Whether you're cooking with it, putting it as salad dressing, but having 1 tablespoon. Some people that were in this U.S. Pointer study were actually drinking it. Do not drink it. It's disgusting, but it had benefits. So they're like, well, I don't really cook with olive oil. I use, maybe avocado spray or olive oil spray. They were drinking it. I wouldn't drink it. And then, focusing on healthy fats. Avocado is a healthy fat to have. When we're talking about nuts, and I know it sounds silly, but we're not talking about the Planters nuts. They want you to eat unsalted almonds. And it's not like handfuls. You can have 5, and that has the account factors that are good. People that have processed red meat, processed meat, are at a 2 times greater chance, 14% they're saying, of developing this disease. So like salami, bacon, hot dogs, bologna, all of that, they're saying limit it. And when that study was released at AAIC 2 years ago, I'm like, well, I don't know what I'm going to make my kids for lunch because they eat deli meat, right? But they're saying to really focus on eliminating some of that. Limiting sugar and salt. So when the people were on the U.S. Pointer following their diet, they did not tell them to restrict. They said have something in moderation. What does moderation mean to some of you? Just throw out a number. How many days a week? Would you think 5?
No.
Right. It's like three times. And she's like, we could still have sweets, but they're like in moderation. So you're not going to sit down every day with ice cream or a cookie. They're saying maybe savor, but they didn't restrict. They were just saying focus on the clean eating. And we've all heard about that. Shop the perimeter of the grocery store. Don't go into the inner aisles is what they encourage. Very. And that's what they said here. Pay attention to your salt intake. Oh, it won't let me go back.
It's really reading the labels. It's probably the salt you're taking out. Sugar's probably not the majority of what you're ingesting. It's all what's in the food you're buying at the grocery store.
Yeah.
And a camel soup has a whole day's
Of the sodium, I know. And I always tell people too, I mean, not everybody knows how to cook, but it's so much better to have like the bone broth from like your chicken when you're cooking it, as opposed to like the Campbell soup, you know? But think about how we can cook differently. Now, I know years ago people were using zucchini noodles for pasta. It's not saying you have to limit it, but it's, instead of eating 2 cups of pasta, maybe have like half a cup, right? Maybe throw in more vegetables in there to add volume. Think about foods that you can swap in. And what are you willing to try? Now we're getting into the fall season of like butternut squash and all these different things. So dark leafy vegetables is what they're encouraging. Berries is another thing that they had on this list. If you're going to have like chocolate, they're suggesting 75% or more, nothing less than that for dark chocolate. But really building your meals around your vegetables. Some people, of course, are vegetarian, so they can't have meat, but like beans and whole grains. And then focusing on leaner cuts of meat. So they put this in here because there is no miracle diet drug, right? What they're saying is there's a lot of over-the-counter medication or supplements right now where they're saying if you take this, you will not have memory loss. And they sell a lot of these at like Walgreens. It does not, they don't work. There is no cure for this right now, right? Go ahead.
I've seen a lot about collagen and.
That's the one I'm talking about.
There's one that starts with an N. I remember it right now. It starts with an N, and it's called mental acuity times 3.
None of that works.
None of it.
So don't spend your money because Prevagen is very expensive. They're just follow these healthy habits. Pick like one thing and start working on it if you don't already. But yes, it does not work. That's why they have this in there, because there is a ton of commercials like, oh, I noticed my memory has improved by taking this. It does no.
I not
No.
Now I can see it.
Yeah, so the over-the-counter, that was it, Prevagen, it does not help. And then, of course, we talked about earlier vitamin deficiency. So if you're feeling any kind of way, oftentimes it could just be lack of vitamins, especially vitamin D or vitamin B. So I encourage people to talk to your doctor. Challenging your brain may help lower your risk of cognitive decline. True? Yes, and we're going to start to see this in the next slide. Continuing to challenge our minds as we age will lower the risk of cognitive decline. And what we're seeing is it will have short-term and long-term benefits. One more. So what they're saying is cognitive engagement means keeping our minds active and challenged. The more pathways our brain forms, the more nimble our brain is to fight off of infections or diseases. So learning a new skill, right? And here they're playing, I think, Scramble, chess, anything to keep the brain active and engage in ongoing learning. So this doesn't mean with the ongoing learning like you have to sign up for a college course. It's about learning new things, new techniques. Mentally stimulating activities can help possibly maintain or improve your cognition. Engaging in formal education can keep your brain healthy and protect against developing dementia. So does anybody want to share what they might do or an activity that sounds challenging to them that they also do?
I do Word with Friends, and I've done it for a number of years, and I've now challenged myself to try to get 20 points or more.
Oh,
Word.
Yeah.
that's
I
good.
started that too. I like it.
Good. Does anybody play Sudoku?
I
Okay,
I
figure
used
it
to.
out.
Yeah.
Good.
Trying to do. I have a yearly.
Oh,
Cross-stitches challenge.
yes, I'm sure.
Right, John?
Yes, Mahjong is good.
Is there any evidence of effect meditation? Yeah, the question is, I don't know if that fits in right here or not, but about meditation specifically.
No, there's nothing. doesn't mean that there isn't any, but not anything that's come out yet. So there's probably studies. They just haven't maybe released it because it's in smaller groups right now.
I think it's more about the activities and what you do.
Well, they're saying meditation's really good because you're clearing out your mind. Yeah, games. I always tell people, like, of course, if you're watching Wheel of Fortune, if there's 2 letters left on the board, that's not challenging enough. But, repeat the alphabet backwards. That's one of the things that they're asking in the diagnostic process. And some of you probably have heard me say this, but if you brush your teeth with your right hand, trick your brain, brush your teeth with your left hand. I know it sounds weird, but your mind goes into autopilot because you've done it for so long that when you change it up, it's like, oh, this is something different. Or even if you're walking or driving, taking a new route, right? I actually did that the other day, and I'm like, I don't know where I'm at. Should I be concerned? And then I remembered I should have gone left and not right, and I turned around. But, doing things like that where we're not the same thing all the time.
Yeah, I like to take them.
And then here, I kind of already talked about that. So the last piece is really social engagement, which I don't think anyone in this room has an issue with. But, we know people do not do well in isolation, right? And here it's really just about having those social networks. People are living longer with that. You're FaceTiming friends in Minneapolis that maybe you don't really see often. Being well connected also helps people make healthier choices in other areas of their life. So does anybody want to say what else? Well, you all volunteer, so that's a lot of stuff that we're doing to stay connected.
That's why I volunteer.
So one of the things, volunteer for a cause that's important to you. Schedule video chats with your, friends, or, just participating in several events. Now, to recap it, you can live healthy for your brain and body by following these healthy habits that we all have. And the most important thing too is start now. It is never too late. And then before I end, these are just the 3 key resources at the association. Oh, good. I have 30 seconds. Our 24-hour helpline. This is available 24 hours, of course, 7 days a week. And these are master level clinicians. So yes, they help with information and referral, but they can also help within those moment needs. And then, of course, our website. And then we have partnered with AARP, and we have something called the Community Resource Finder. So if someone is looking in their community for a support group or an education program or a memory care community or anything, they can go on to the Community Resource Finder to find it. Go ahead. There is. So Catholic Charities Amanda has one, doesn't she, here? Yeah. Yeah. It is. It is. But I know Catholic Charities has one. Riverside has one. There's another one too. I just can't think. Yeah, there's a few.
I send out emails from Amanda, and then I put all of her caregiver support information
Good.
in your in-service folders. So when she sends me a calendar, it should be coming through to you guys as well.
Good. Any other questions? Well, thank you, everyone. Remember, start small. Little things add up. Of course. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I have the mic.
Oh, yes, before I leave with it.
You like going to the bathroom and then recording or something awkward. Cool. Thank you so much. All right. All right. Okay. So like I said, anything that comes down the pipeline from Amanda or from ADRN or from nutrition, I try to put in your packets each month. So hopefully You'll have that. Here is Hattie's information, her email. If anyone wants to write that down, you can. Okay. All right, so inside your packet, you'll find our meeting agenda. I did provide some Harbor House flyers. They have quite a few upcoming events. This is kind of like their event season for survivors and also for fundraising. And then I also printed out the community-based programming calendar, so you have all those things. All right. So all of you know that since Bri left 3.5-ish months ago, Jen Wick has been making some program changes to help us stay better on track with our compliance. Part of that is because our foster grandparent program was audited, and she's wondering if because they already audited that program, they're going to audit ours too. So she was concerned that the virtual in-service videos are significantly shorter than attending in person. So because of that, there's still going to be the video with like the sheet to fill in, but now there are going to be additional articles that you have to read and fill out proof of attendance for that as well. So that's that information. I don't have much else to say about that. I gave it to you. You have it now. A couple of things about compliance as well. Per our AmeriCorps Seniors requirement, you cannot be paid if your ID is not up to date in our system. Also, you cannot receive mileage reimbursement if you don't have a valid ID on file and valid auto insurance. You also should not be transporting clients if you don't have valid insurance. So I know insurance gets expensive. Sometimes people cancel it. Our liability insurance will not cover you if something happens while you don't have insurance. So it'll be all of yours to cover. If there's like a gap in what we have on file, as long as you can prove that you were covered during those dates, that's okay, but we really do need to have that in case something happens. All right. Any questions about that? Yeah, Sister Marianne.
It's a little different, but what if you take transportation to your client? Like if you take the bus and you pay $2, $4.
Yeah, most people here should qualify for free bus rides through the Metro in Kankakee County.
If you pay, I would pay to take the bus.
Mm-hmm. If you submit a receipt, we can reimburse you for that.
Do they give receipts? I've never taken the bus yet.
I think most of it is through the app, so you can take a screenshot and turn that in as proof of payment. But
I'm going to start using the show bus.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, but honestly, you should check into the free bus pass because people who are 65 and older in Kankakee County should be eligible for that most of the time.
Eligible for free.
Okay. For $2. Okay.
$2 there and $2 back.
Yeah.
If I go with a client,
Okay. Okay. Let me find my notes here. Let me look into what the procedure is for how you need to submit things. Yeah.
I'm just curious because that's $4.
Yeah. Yeah, instead of, you can't claim both mileage and bus reimbursement. Right. You can claim one or the other. Let me see if there are any particular things you need to know about that, and I'll follow up with you.
Mileage for the distance, not worry about the $2 or $4.
Yeah, if you're not actually driving your car, you can't claim the mileage. Yeah.
I was just curious, not that I need the reimbursement,
but if you've already been receiving mileage and you're just switching over, yeah. Let me just double check, because on your timesheet, there's a section that says bus/car miles. So you would just put how much money you spent on the bus fare round trip in that column. Yep. All right. Any other questions about bus, car insurance, compliance? Okay. This is my new cell number. If you have been texting my old cell number, this is the same one as I announced last in service, by the way. If you've been texting the old one, I've been trying to just text you back and say, hey, text the new one. There are some compliance issues with, or confidentiality issues with the old number. This one is fully HIPAA compliant and compliant just kind of across the board. So I can send client information there too. Here's a reminder of the How Can I Help form. Karen, did you have a question? Okay, just thinking. Okay. If you put that in your folder and you check yes, I'll follow up with you. If you check no, you don't want follow-up from SCP staff, then I'll just case note everything. And honestly, if it's a problem, I just follow up with you anyways. But if you're noticing like some issues with your clients or things like that, I'll follow up with the right people for that. Our community-based programming continues to have different things. They have started having more events back here at the senior center in the gym. And then Natalia does a lot of things out in the community. So if you need RSVP, here's her information. If you need to come to the building, I'm not always here. I've got a whole bunch. So it is best practice for you to give me a call and just schedule a time to come by. That way you know you're actually going to get somebody. Here's Jen Wick's information. It's also in your agenda. Did everyone get an agenda for today? Perfect. All right, we talked about this last month. I have been working to follow up with everyone who's not meeting that 5 hours per week minimum to volunteer. We've had at least one person transition over to the friendly visiting program. I did reschedule with Ann to come in the next couple months to talk about the friendly visiting program. So if people have really technical questions about that transition, she'll be able to answer those then. I haven't quite followed up with everybody, so I'm working on it. I had a situation arise where a client, a state client, moved into skilled nursing. So, which is okay for like a short term if they're going to rehab. We're allowed to continue visiting. However, I still need to know because we cannot bill for those services while they're in a skilled nursing facility. Per the state, if they are in a skilled nursing facility, all of their needs should be met because the state is paying the skilled nursing facility and they can't double dip. So if you have questions about the technicality of that, now's your chance. You can continue to visit them. I just need to know so I can notify our billing. Okay. All right. Here's some more information about the friendly visiting program. Does anyone have questions about that program? It's the same slide from last month.
I guess we do. I guess we'll just talk about the person. You haven't got a chance.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
It's like
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Honestly, so with the last volunteer, I'll just talk you through the process. I talked to the volunteer and I talked to the client, and they were both willing to transition over to the friendly visiting program. So I sent the referral form over to Ann from friendly visiting for both the volunteer and the client. The volunteer does not have to get re-fingerprinted or re-background checked. All of that is covered. There is a 1 afternoon training for their specific procedures, and that's it.
Seems like there's not a choice. Canyon wants to pick up.
Yes. Or
You say you get agreement.
yeah. So the choice is you could take on more clients and come up to 5 hours, or the care plan says 5 hours. If the client cancels, that's not really your fault. Or you can transition to friendly visiting, which has less requirements. That's kind of what Jen has decided. Yeah, that is correct. So like, but for example, your client has more hours on their care plan and then he cancels often. That's not something you can control, right? But the care plan is showing they should have this many hours. So if the client's canceling, that's not something necessarily you can control. But if the care plan says 2 hours, then we either need to get you up to the 5 hours or you can transition to friendly visiting. Yeah. That decision was from Jen Wick because she's looking at those compliance metrics. Do you have more, or do you still just want to talk after? Okay. Okay, perfect. Yeah, because she has more details. I just know what they've told me. Okay, perfect. All right, I think everyone is aware of rainbow folders. I did go through and pull things out, and I'll follow up with you as needed. All right, we are going to have an updated handbook. I know I announced this a couple months ago, but since Bri has left, Jenwick has been working on mainly just some clarifiers in there. There aren't any major changes that I'm aware of, but she did try to make things a lot more concise in the handbook. So once that comes out, you'll get a whole new copy of the handbook. That way you have it. All right, I wanted to provide an update on leave of absences and extended illnesses. So if you have not seen a client for more than 1 month, you can go on a leave of absence. That is up to 180 days. So that during that leave of absence, you don't get paid for anything, including holidays. You are also not responsible to see clients or to come to in-service meetings and those kind of things. So you do need to tell a staff member when you go on leave of absence, and that end date is calculated 180 days from the last day you saw a client. So it's not 180 days from when you tell a staff member. It's from when you saw a client last. Questions about that? Okay. If you go over that 180 days without seeing a client, per AmeriCorps Senior, you're not eligible to continue with the program until you do all of the onboarding process again. So you have to go through background checks, fingerprinting, all of the training again. So 180 days is a long time. I think if you're having medical issues for that long, then I would like to maybe get you some more support to help with those things. Yeah. They don't. But what might change is if there's a criminal record within that time period. Yeah. Thanks, Paula. That. So your fingerprints won't change, but in order to start a new a new background check cycle, they have to do the fingerprinting first. Yeah. Yes. But 180 days is a long time, so if you've gone that long without seeing a client, there are probably some more underlying issues, you know. Yeah. Any more questions about that? Okay. All right. If you have paid time off accrued while you're on leave of absence, you can use that. So there's some options. Probably paid time off won't cover the whole thing, but if you want that, you can have it. All right, we already talked about that. Okay. These are the same reminders from last month, but Jenwick asked that I update every month on these things. So please remember to put in services, including virtual attendance, on your timesheets. Please turn your timesheets in twice per month and document all cancellations on your calendars and your timesheets. And then just a reminder, the timesheet documentation is tied directly to our funding. So if you don't turn them in, then our program can't get paid, and then people aren't happy with us. Here are the upcoming pay dates. They're on your agenda too. I did want to point out that this pay date is a little bit different than usual. And then when we get into November and December, there's some funky things too that we can talk about future in-services. Our next in-service is October 17th. Yeah, there you go. Sister Marianne said, come dress for Halloween. The next holiday is Indigenous Peoples Day on October 13th. I think that's a Wednesday. I'm waiting for some clarification on this. Our next advisory committee meeting was supposed to be October 8th. It may have been canceled. I'm not sure. So I will follow up with those of you who are on it. I know it's been a long time. Did it said it was canceled?
No, it was canceled. It was saying it was going to be on 8th of October.
Okay, so that came from Jenwick? Huh. Okay, then it's probably on. There was discussion last week about this, and she wasn't sure. So if you just got a notification, then it's happening. Okay, awesome. Great. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, awesome. So, staffing update. I wanted to give an update about what's been going on behind the scenes, just so everyone is aware, and then give some like future things that might be happening. So first of all, they haven't posted for Bly's supervisor position yet. So Jen Wick is still the acting supervisor. Due to funding updates, Mackenzie Joe's position will never be filled. So it'll be a part-time person and then hopefully a full-time supervisor. Moving forward, Jen has planned to have just a senior companion supervisor and then a separate foster grandparent supervisor. Sounds like right now the priority is finding a foster grandparent supervisor, and then she'll work on senior companion. Any questions about that? Okay. I have voiced my concern about some lack of support in this area, and she said she's doing her best. So I wanted to pass that along. Sure. In what capacity?
For whatever you need help.
She
identified things that can be done.
Mm-hmm.
Having that interactive with people.
Yeah. Yes.
Stuff that has to be done that teacher.
Yeah, and we had 2 clerical volunteers who left with Bri. The problem with that is because I'm only in the office 1.5 days per week, then that's pretty limiting. But I am allowed to do that. So yes, I am allowed to do that. They would, if they're not a current volunteer with Catholic Charities, they would have to at least sign a confidentiality policy. And then based on what I was having them do, they might also have to go for background check. So that is an option. I have not had the brain capacity to make it happen yet. So any other questions about that? Okay, cool. One final staffing update, which is really sad, and I have not wanted to share with you, but I actually resigned from this position and I'm done next week. So I'll be moving to a new position. Jen Wick is not planning to hire for my position anytime soon. She said she will probably post at the end of October. So at this time, timesheets will stay the same. She'll be driving down to grab anything that's in the mailbox on Mondays. So all of the timesheet submissions should stay the same. She will be monitoring my voicemails and my emails and my texts. But please, please, please send anything that needs to be processed quickly to that AmeriCorps Seniors email address. Does everyone have that email address?
It is on the back of their time.
Okay, perfect. I know some people had old timesheets that still had mine on it. So yes, I think it should be. Yep. Okay. Yes. Yeah. So you can still bring it here and you can still email it to the AmeriCorps Seniors email. I'm leaving. I'm leaving. Yeah, completely. Yeah. Yep.
Is it just Jen Wick that will be in charge of it?
Yes. So she has not planned to hire anyone for my position. She wants to restructure how things are going. So since there's not currently a supervisor, I don't know who she'll hire first, if she'll hire a supervisor or if she'll hire a coordinator. I'm leaving. Next Friday. It's my last day. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So, oh, my computer's rebooting. Thank you. Yeah. So I did have a strategic planning meeting with her, and she is planning to run in-service meetings. So in-service should stay the same. If you're waiting on a client, she has a lot on her plate, and I'm guessing there won't be new match meetings anytime soon. So
how are they going to, the people that are not in compliance because they don't have enough? So what are we like?
5 hours.
Yeah,
that's up to Jen.
Okay.
Yep. That's up to Jen.
I just want to express how much we appreciate what you've done with this.
Thank you.
We're wishing you very well.
Thank you.
Your next position will, anyway.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, this is the part I was least looking forward to when I submitted my resignation. So it's been a real pleasure to work with all of you, and I'm grateful for the work that you do with your clients. So hopefully they will hire for my position. and that person will be able to come in and get things the way Jem wants it, and breathe some new life into how things are going. So, does anyone have questions about that transition?
Is there going to be a new position
Here at Catholic Charities?
somewhere else?
Yeah, I do have a new job. Yeah, I'll be moving on to an organization called Project Sun. So they help parents who have kids with mental health concerns navigate systems of care. So still in the social work. It's located in the library building in Kankakee. So still local, still social work. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Anything else? Any last thoughts? Okay. Well, my computer is updating, so there was a slide at the end that said thank you, but thank you.